Hello, my name is Lohr. I teach AP Physics, Physics, and Wilderness Survival at Rochester Adams, as well as serve as the head coach of the cross-country team and the track and field team. Going into my senior year of high school, I knew that I wanted to go into education. And it was that year that I took my first physics course and fell in love with the topic. I've taught water safety instruction. I'm a certified scuba instructor, and that just kind of naturally rolled right into education. Within 6 months of graduating from Eastern Michigan, I was hired by Rochester Adams, and this year will begin my 17th year of teaching for Rochester Adams. The role that I am allowed to play in your students' lives is a role that I do not take lightly. I'm very proud to hopefully serve as another trusted adult in your students' lives. And the way things are going this year, I think they could probably use all of the support they can get, and that's my role here, in addition to teaching them whatever material it is that we're trying to cover. So before we begin anything, I'd just like to make sure that you and your student is aware that I am here for any needs that you might have, being that we have so much uncertainty as we go through everything this year. The best way to contact me would be through my email, Lohr at rochester.k12.mi.us. And with all the different platforms and programs that we're using nowadays, I get flooded with alerts and everything else. So I deeply apologize if I miss an email from you. Please don't hesitate to email me if you think I've missed it or forgotten it, because it is certainly possible that in the avalanche of emails we get every day, as I'm sure you are aware, that I may have missed something. Usually when we are in the building, I teach across the hall from my lovely wife, who teaches life sciences, including pathology and AP biology. Starting off remotely, instead of her being across the hall, she's in the office, one office over, so we get to spend the day together. We have 2 children who are at Delta Kelly currently. My son is a 2nd grader who has Mrs. Baroni, who I think has been between Musson Elementary and Delta Kelly, and then my daughter's a 4th grader, and she currently has Mrs. Monroe. So far, their remote learning experience has been a positive one, and I hope that I am able to make the learning experience a remote version for your student a positive one as well. AP Physics C is a calculus-based AP Physics course. There is AP Physics 1 and 2, which is something that we do not teach in Rochester Community Schools. That's an algebra-based class that goes over many topics. We will be studying mechanics during 1st semester and electricity and magnetism during 2nd semester, and nothing more. This allows us to go very in-depth with some higher levels of math, as it is a calculus-based class. The students that are in AP Physics C, it is recommended that they are also enrolled in a calculus course at the same time. Now, if your student is a pre-calculus student, they will be fine. They should have spoken to me, and it means that their physics skills are strong, and they will be just fine. I teach all the calculus they're going to need to know. I teach them how to do it. Your calculus class is going to do a better job of showing all of the groundwork about how and why and many different methods. I kind of cut right to the chase and say, this is what it is, and this is how you do it. So usually by about mid-October, the calculus class catches up to where we are and then goes blasting by and does much more challenging things. So your student, if they are in pre-calculus, will be fine. They just have to realize that they're just going to have to maybe work a little bit harder on the math until it becomes a little bit more obvious to them. They feel more comfortable with it. Our physics textbook that we use is a spectacular textbook, University Physics. This right here is just a wonderful, wonderful book, and it is a great resource for them, so they should be using this all the time. I give them a list of suggested readings and homework assignments to read, homework questions to do, and if they want to be serious about it, that is a great resource, one of the best books out there. Now they have the opportunity to take 2 separate AP tests. AP Physics C Mechanics is a single test, and AP Physics C E&M is a separate test. They are shorter in time than your average. They're half the amount of time, 90 minutes, if this is a normal year. Last year, a lot of the AP classes, let me rephrase that, a lot of the AP tests were done a little bit differently, AP Physics included. But under a normal year, it's a 90-minute test, half multiple choice, half free response question. And then there's a little 5-minute break, and then they start the next test. Your student can do both tests, one test, the other, or neither. It is their choice. I do not feel that it is my job to teach them how to take the test. I don't teach to the test. I teach them the curriculum that AP asks us to teach. I teach them the physics. When we do our tests and our assessments and our labs, I modify those, or I tailor those so that they resemble things that they will see on that May test. So our testing and our assessments I make so that they are very similar to the testing and the assessment that they're going to have in May. So the way I prepare them for the test is through how I assess them, but I don't teach directly to the test. Once we're done with all of our content, we will spend time studying and reviewing in April up through that May test. And as we know, depending on how the pandemic goes from here, they might modify the test, and as soon as I know something, the students will know something, and we'll make sure that we are prepared as much as we can be for whatever type of test form they are going to give us. If we are working a little bit slower because of remote, then we will have gone through the entire mechanics section, and the students would be, it would be suggested that they sign up to take mechanics because we will finish everything else. And then the E&M is kind of, we'll kind of figure that out once October 1st rolls around, if that's something that your student should sign up for. We're going to start it no matter what. The question is, how far are we going to get? And the students always have the ability to kind of go ahead and with my materials and kind of work ahead if they want to get all of those and try out that E&M test. Or they might just say, you know what, let's focus on mechanics. And our students always do a very good job on that mechanics test. And they do well on the E&M as well, but the mechanics test, they always do really well. We had a 4.2 average out of 5 last year for the mechanics test, so they did a spectacular job. So I'm going to encourage your student to sign up for the AP mechanics test, and then they can have a conversation with me about whether they should sign up for the E&M test or not. I can understand both ways. I can understand not wanting to gamble some money away on a test that we might not be fully prepared for, but I can also see someone wanting to give it a shot. So that's up to them. They can talk to me about their options and what they want to do and what any suggestions I can give them. So obviously, to start off our year, we are relying heavily on our computers and on the internet. So what I'd like to do is talk about your class and discuss the different programs and apps and platforms that we will be using. And I understand that there's a lot of classes and a lot of platforms out there, so I do try my best to try to streamline and consolidate as much as possible so that your student doesn't have to memorize 15 different logins and 15 different websites. So that is my goal. So let's begin, and if you have any questions, please email me as often as you would like. And the computer's always on at the house, so it's usually a constant update, so I should be able to respond rather quickly. So, as we are all aware, Google Classroom is going to be our primary platform for all classes. So looking at my Google Classroom here for our AP Physics course, the stream is where I post any updates, including our Zoom link each week, which will remain the same. We have our upcoming assignment list right here, which is very convenient. And what they're going to do is they're going to go to Classroom, and that's where they will find They will find kinematics, data analysis. Everything's going to be here. This is going to be the location to find everything. If it looks like a little piece of paper with a bookmark, there's nothing to do. It's just some information. Most likely it's going to be some kind of a file or document for them to view. If there's a little clipboard, it means that there is something for them to do, whether that something is to be submitted through Google Classroom or it's something else. And I do that so that it pops up on their calendar. And when they're done, they can click Turn In, so that way that's off of their calendar. So something like the data analysis review is one where they are going to be submitting directly to Google Classroom. Something like our UT assignments, it says right here, no turn-in. This is something you're going to submit through UT Quest. So those are the two big things that we're going to have on our Google Classroom. Any videos that we make or any recorded Zoom sessions, I will post to the stream or in the relevant category. In addition to our Google Classroom, I have my previous preferred platform was Edmodo. This is where I keep all of my electronic files. And while everything they're going to need for AP Physics is going to be on that Google Classroom page, this is where it's already posted. So I'm looking right here, AP Physics. There's the class join code that anyone can do, parents, kids, it doesn't matter. I never kick anyone out. I don't assign anything here. But what we have here is folders. I can sort it by name so that it goes by number here. And it's information, it's help on your calculus, it's data analysis, it's everything. And when I click on any of these, for example, if I wanted to start kinematics, what I have here is our review and a lab that we're going to do. I can go back to the folders page, and again, I can go anywhere. So a lot of times I'll have answer keys, I will have solutions posted for things, and so this is useful. I am not going to be using it per se, but it's still there. So if the student wants to have a login and remember, what that password is, they can check that out any time. So this class code only has to be used one single time, and then they're in forever. If they were not in my physics class last year and they want some resources to last year's information, they can join my physics class. So there is the class join code, so they can do that as well if they want. And most of the students have already done that. Now, I mentioned Texas, our UT. If I go to our UT, I have it in student view right now. This is what your student's going to notice. Any class that they have is going to be listed here. Any upcoming due dates are going to be listed. AP Physics is going to have 2 of these per chapter generally. Physics will have just 1. Now, they both look the same once we get in there, so I have this physics one already set up for our presentation, so we'll take a look at physics. What you're going to see is a list of all the assignments that have that have been posted. Some of them might have a deadline that's already lapsed, but you're going to have a list of all of your assignments. So right now I only have one, Introduction. When I click on that, it's going to take a moment here. Here it comes. Here is my my PDF of my assignment. If I have a printer at home, you can hit print, and then you can do all the work. All the work's expected to be done old school, pencil, calculator, on a piece of paper. Now, I can read off of the screen and write down what I'm doing on a sheet of paper. I don't have to hit print, but it would be expected that they're doing things on paper so that if they ever had a question, they can see exactly what they're doing. I can see what they're doing, and I can assist. These assignments are intended to score very well. For example, when I look right here, number 1, I've started it, I didn't finish it, I have earned 0 points. 2 out of 7, I've tried it twice, and I've tried the number 7 as an answer and the number 5, and both times it was incorrect. If I accidentally click 7 again and I hit submit, I don't get double dipped. I've already tried that one, and so I still have my 5 remaining tries. Number 2, I got it right first try, 10 out of 10. Number 3, I got it wrong once. Then I got it right on try number 2, 9.3. Last, number 4, I got it right on the third try, 8.65. What am I trying to show you? I'm trying to show you that if you get every question wrong once and then get it right, you get a 93% on the whole thing. Most of these you're going to get right the first try. Even if it takes you 2 tries and you can get it on the third, you're still getting an 87. So any student that's not getting high 80s into the 90s on their online assignment, it typically means they were not, they didn't finish it on time, and all they have to do for a fee is a late fee, as I call it, a point deduction. I can reopen it, they can submit late, and they will earn back huge amounts of points with a small deduction for being late. So all these scores should be great. So if you're looking at the gradebook and you see online scores that are in the low 80s or below, very simple to improve that one. Just make sure their time management has been improved and they're getting those done when they should. Let's see, the last thing that we have been asked to share with you, actually, you know what, I apologize, there's 2 last things that I would like to share. So if I go back to our Google Classroom, and I go down here to AP Physics Tech, it is strongly recommended for the students to get graphical analysis on their computer if that's something that the family is willing to do. It's free, and what this does is it allows us to have this really convenient graphing program that allows us to make data tables that are physics relevant. It allows us to make new columns. I can analyze curves. I can change the graph around very easily to change the shape and to do our data analysis. So if that's something that is acceptable for the family computer, getting graphical analysis would be a wonderful idea. Now the last thing, I was asked to share any AP information. So as you can see here, our registration dates is going to end on October 26th. It's $100 per exam unless you have a reduced lunch program. If you're in a second semester course, which is not AP Physics, you still need to register. You'll register then. If you are in a first semester or all year long class, you have to register by the 26th. It says you cannot register without joining their AP Classroom. They should have already done that with me on day 1. I'll double check my names and I will come after the people that have not. But basically, once they are in the class, it says right here they have to change the exam status from undecided to yes or no. And so that tells them that tells the power that be that they're taking the test, and they'll get one ordered for them. Otherwise, it's not going to be ordered. They can pay online, and I think that's everything. You can pause and read a little more in depth here, but that's everything as it pertains to our AP Physics class. So with that, in addition to all of the resources that we just discussed, in AP Physics there is one other resource that we use, and we're kind of in a tough spot right now because of the remote learning. It's called Physics Quizzes. It's an older program. It's about 20 years old, but what it is a multiple choice quiz done on the computer that is timed. And the reason we do those is it gets the students in the habit of reading through a question, comprehending what it's asking, understanding, making a choice, and getting an answer in under a time crunch, under the stress of having a timed test. And the reason we do that is because the standard normal AP Physics test in the spring, in May, has a multiple choice section. It's 35 questions done in 45 minutes, and so some of those questions take a while to answer because they involve some math, and it can be strenuous on your students. So we do the physics quizzes so that it's a rapid fire multiple choice quiz that they are taking, and so they kind of get used to that stress, unfortunately. It is a program that works for, I don't think it works for any Mac, so if you are a Mac family, you cannot download it at home, but if you have a laptop or a desktop that's Microsoft compatible, you can use, you can download the program. It's on Edmodo, and I've shown your students how to get that. Once we're back in person, my classroom computers also have that. So if they don't have the ability to get that on a computer at home, they still have the ability to use my classroom to to do any of those physics quizzes. So right now, since we're not in the classroom and students might not have the ability to get that downloaded, we're not going to jump right in and do many of those physics quizzes yet, but that is something that they will do as well. That represents 10% of their weighted grade, so that is one last program that they will be using when we return to in-person teaching, hopefully relatively soon. Well, thank you for your time, and if there are any questions you have, please feel free to email me anytime. And I'm looking forward to a great school year, even though it's remote. I was very excited to get back in the classroom and see all the students and get a chance to interact, and I look forward to having some face-to-face, in-person time with them sooner rather than later. So I wish you and your student a wonderful beginning to our school year, and hopefully we return to some normalcy before the school year is done. So take care.